A few days ago, in my video that nobody asked for entitled Water, because why not, I kind of discussed how irritating it can be when you're given an assignment that seemingly doesn't really have a purpose, or when you have to do various things for a class that you just feel aren't really helping you learn. And so today I would just like to go very in depth about a subject I'm extremely passionate about, which is good and bad teaching techniques. And keep in mind, these are all completely my opinion, but my opinion is also grounded in a lot of years of this educational experience, so I somewhat know what I'm talking about. The first thing I would like to talk about is busy work. And I have talked to a lot of people, and out of probably the hundreds and hundreds of people I've asked, only one, and you know who you are, has ever said that they actually enjoy busy work. Busy work, I'm just going to go ahead and define as work that is meant purely to take up time and requires little to no effort, but a ton of time. Busy work is those kinds of things where it's like, all right, class, today you're going to answer these 20 questions, and you find that pretty much it's 2 questions, but with about 1 word switched, and so you end up writing essentially the exact same thing for all of the questions. Busy work is also when you're answering questions that just don't have to do with the test or anything like that. Just basic recall questions, things like that, that you can study in other ways that might be more effective for you, but the teacher believes that this way of memorizing is so good that you are now going to have to do it as well as everyone else. Busy work, I just believe, is pointless. And yes, there might be some benefit to forcing kids to constantly be doing work, like maybe it keeps the subject in their head longer, it forces them to think about, I don't know, English, when they really shouldn't have to think about English that night. But busy work is just such a pointless thing for me, and it makes me so angry. So for example, for that water class that we had this worksheet where we had to go around to each of the fountains and talk about what we saw in those fountains, and the questions were always the same. It was essentially, how is water used in this fountain? What is the cycle of water through this fountain? And how does this water fountain show resilience? And you can always tell when it's busy work, when it's sloppily and horribly created. For example, if you have to keep looking at fountains and you have to keep stretching your imagination to try to figure out how the heck resilience is in a certain fountain, that is not a good question, because that question has absolutely no meaning. I don't learn anything by struggling for about 10 minutes to figure out how I can take this very normal fountain and bring it into the realm of resilience and do that for 2 other fountains. This whole process is just pointless, and it doesn't make any sense to me because it's just such a waste of time and energy. If there were different questions that pertain to the meanings of each fountain, then that would be fine, but since it was the exact same question for each fountain, regardless of how relevant the question was, that is busy work at its finest. One of the other things that I hate that teachers do is when they will talk really fast about a topic, kind of zoom through it, and then at the end they'll go, hey, does anyone have any questions? And they'll look out into this giant mass of blank faces, and there'll just be this awkward silence for about 45 seconds as no one knows how to ask a question. I've had this silence, in fact, go on for about 3 minutes at one point in one of my classes, and it was one of the most awkward things ever, as we just sat there with our blank faces staring at the teacher, hoping that they would somehow go over it again, but none of us being able to articulate what exactly it was that we didn't understand about this topic. And these teachers will know, they will know that the kids don't get it. They'll look at you and you'll see the concern on their face for about 2 seconds before they kind of go, screw it, they're kids, they'll figure it out somehow. And then they move on. Knowing that their students don't get the material, they will still decide to move on. And that is the most irritating thing to me. Because if you see a million confused faces, that means that you should go back, explain it again, but slower, and ask questions throughout the process. In fact, the real cure to this issue is instead of going for 20, 30 minutes without asking for questions, every 2 or 3 minutes, or every major step, you should go ahead and ask if there's any questions, because that way it's easier for your students to isolate their problems and to ask better, more articulate questions. Another thing that really can be annoying for me about teachers is when they don't really seem to care about learning. And this is kind of a weird one. Because for me, I don't really care that much if a teacher is strict or not strict. I really don't. And in fact, I kind of don't like teachers that are not strict. And this is weird to a lot of people because a lot of people have their favorite teachers as basically the ones that are the least strict. And they'll be like, man, this teacher's so great, he gives so little homework. And you might be saying even now, oh, if a teacher gives less homework, that means less busy work, right? So you should like them because of that. Well, no, because if a teacher doesn't seem like they care about learning, if a teacher is more concerned about their students' well-being or things like that rather than learning, I feel like that is also a failure of a teacher. A really good example of this happened in college, and is part of the reason why I'm making this video right now, because it bothered me so much that I just had to tell someone about it. So I go into this class, and I'm not going to name the names of these teachers because I don't know if this could actually have repercussions for them. But we go into this class, and they're like, okay, now that you're in your college life, you should seriously consider joining clubs or sororities or fraternities or as many social things as you possibly can. And then they say, do you know why you should do that? And everyone's silent. We're all like, no, we don't know what you're looking for. This is the first day of class. How can we read your mind when we haven't even known you for 10 minutes? Anyways, the awkward silence passes and he answers, you should join clubs and get involved and meet people because they have versions of the tests. And for me, when he said those words, the versions of the tests, I just couldn't fathom it. It was like, what are you saying? And I wouldn't even believe that he said that, except he and his TAs keep repeating it over and over and over again, like it's a fundamental part of the college experience to cheat by looking at previous versions of the tests and getting an upper hand by getting involved in social structures. And I hate that more than anything. And I'm not sure why I hate it so much, but I absolutely despise it. And it drives me insane because it's like, so this isn't about learning? This isn't about understanding chemistry or physics or math or English or history or anything. This is about getting into social institutions so that you can get the versions of the test so that you can memorize them and succeed on the exams. And it's just unfathomable to me. And I have known for a long time going into college that there are people that do this. I know that. It's a fact that is sad and part of our society. But for a teacher, a professor, someone that is put in a position above the rest, a position to inform students on how to succeed in college, is now telling us that the way to succeed is not to study hard, it's not to go to office hours, it's not to work as hard as you possibly can and get the help you need, it's to cheat. Plain and simple. It is to cheat. And when a teacher shows complete disregard for their students' learning, when they rely on those students to either go to outside sources or to use past tests, or they use those results from people that they can figure out pretty easily are cheating as a baseline for any sort of curve, those are the teachers that I cannot stand above all else, and I can't stand them. Because encouraging cheating, in my opinion, is the complete opposite of encouraging learning. It is something that is so horrific to me, something that you should always be teaching against. To suddenly teach for it, especially at a juncture such as freshman year of college, is just horrific to me. Even if students do it on their own, which yes, they will, unfortunately. This is the society we live in. To advocate for that in a position of power, I feel should personally get you fired. But because I'm not a horrible person, and I also don't want to have this conversation when I only have like 18 subscribers or something. I don't want this to go viral. But I really do feel that if you advocate cheating, you should be fired. Plain and simple. And yes, this guy has a background. He came from a small school and came to college and was failing all his classes because he was too busy with work and like jobs and schoolwork and classes and responsibilities and whatever. I don't care. How you got through college, given your circumstances, is your deal. And if you do something corrupt, you don't spread it. If someone went into a store and stole a loaf of bread just to feed their family, do you think that they should then go and talk to all of their friends and talk to all their children and say, hey kids, just in case you're ever running low on food, no, you can always go and steal bread. It's cool. Everyone does it. It's fine. No one will hurt you for it. I don't know. It's just something that really irked me and really hurt me and really made me think about those distinctions between good and bad teachers. So for this last part of the video, let me just talk to all the good teachers. To all the teachers that care about your students, to all those teachers that offer office hours and look for questions and go table to table looking to see how they can help, thank you. For all those teachers that are passionate about their subject, that genuinely want students to not only learn, but to enjoy learning their subject, thank you. For all those teachers that have gotten me through so much, who have answered all the dumbest questions I've ever asked, as well as the very few smart ones, who genuinely want to make a difference in the lives of each and every student they teach, who genuinely want to make sure this material can actually help you and go towards whatever you do next in life. Thank you. Because it's teachers like you that help me not lose faith in the teaching community whenever one teacher decides to do something as blasphemous as advocate cheating. It's teachers like you that make me really enjoy learning, that make me really passionate about learning to the point where something like that would be so repulsive to me. And to all the students out there, I know that if you're watching this, you may not agree with me. You may think that, man, if a teacher is going to just tell you to go into these organizations and get the test, then great, now I have a free pass. I love that teacher. That's your own opinion, and we can have a debate on that in a separate thing where I'm not just talking to myself and where I can actually talk to you and we can have an actual conversation. But to all the other students, just a reminder to thank your teachers for what they do and to really appreciate when a teacher actually has passion and caring for their students, because not all your teachers are going to have that. And it's a lot rarer than you may think. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this pretty much mega rant about bad teachers. Who knew that one thing could get me so incredibly riled up? If you have had an extremely bad, or better, an extremely good experience with a teacher, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to read those to kind of restore my faith in the teaching people of the world, even though I'm related to quite a few, so I guess I can't ever lose faith, but whatever. So yeah, go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you're doing, let me know how your day is going. I want to communicate with you guys. Anyways, I hope that you soar high and enjoy the ride of life, and have a great day. Bye.